Hi, I'm Heidi with Onigo Stamping. Welcome to my craft corner. I'm so excited that you're here today because I have 3 fabulous cards to share with you using the new Ice Cream Corner suite, as well as the ice cream cone builder punch that is part of the suite. And I have some tips and techniques for using that punch to make some fun banner ends. I absolutely love the Ice Cream Corner suite of products because it's just so cute and so much fun. And I got it for free. One of the things that I absolutely love about being a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator is the opportunity to earn free stamps and accessories. On my website today, I talk all about the different ways that I can earn free stamps as a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I hope that you will pop over there and read all about it. If you have any questions about joining Stampin' Up!, please leave me a comment, send me an email. I would love to answer those questions for you. All right, Onigo, let's get stamping. So this is the Ice Cream Corner suite of products, and it's absolutely gorgeous. And it's a great suite because it's one of the suites. Sometimes suites I find are a little bit pricey, but this suite is actually fairly lowish in price compared to a lot of other suites. And it has a lot of great stuff with it. So you get the Sweet Ice Cream stamp set and the Ice Cream Cone Builder Punch. I don't know if you can see that real well to make your ice cream cone. There's also this fabulous Blackberry Bliss striped ribbon. It's gorgeous. It works really great. I've been using it in lots and lots of projects. And then the Ice Cream Corner Designer Series paper. So this paper is absolutely beautiful. It has all these kind of watercolory looks to it. You can see this is one side and it's upside down in my stack here. Let's turn it around. So you got ice creams and popsicles and more splotches. And we're going to use these splotches today to do some really fun stuff and some more ice cream cones. And then of course you turn it over and you got a whole bunch more patterns. You have sprinkles and dots and some stripes, more stripes, just all sorts of kind of fun patterns. So it's a really great set of designer series paper that comes in the suite as well. And then there's also some sprinkles that can go on top of your ice cream cones. And I don't have these sprinkles because I'm going to show you where these are. This is on page 49 of the catalog. And you can see right here the Ice Cream Corner sprinkles. And those would be great just to glue on as additions to your cards. So really fun time. Or you could also use them in shaker cards as the little shaky things in there. So this is what we're going to use today. Let me go ahead and move this out of the way and let's get started. The first card is super easy. All of my cards today are really quite easy. They don't have a lot of stamping. They're really all about the designer series paper. Of course, all of the dimensions for today's cards can be found on my website, and the link to my website is in the description to this video. I'm going to start with a piece of 8.5 by 5.5 inch Blackberry Bliss cardstock, and I've scored it at 4 1/4, and I am lining up the corners so that I can get a nice even fold, and then using my bone folder to fold that. So there's my Blackberry Bliss card base. And then I have some pieces of the designer series paper. So I have a piece of designer series paper, and this is 5 inches by 3 3/4 inches. And I think I've talked about this before. So I always like to use 1/2 inch when I'm, not always, but a common size that I like to use is I'd like to have a 1/2 inch difference from the front of my card. So the front of my card is 5.5 by 4 1/4. And I have a 1/2 inch difference. So I've cut this down to 5 by 3 3/4. And then the next layer is 3/16 inch bigger than this layer. So I go from 5 inches to 5 3/16 this direction. And then 3 3/4 inches becomes 3 15/16 that direction. So, and that just gives me kind of a wide border and a skinny border, which looks nice on the front of my card. So I'm just putting some multi-purpose glue on the back of there. Try not to get too much. And this is just going on this other piece of Blackberry Bliss cardstock. And try to center that up nice. Now, one of the things I want to do is I want to make an ice cream cone. I want to make an ice cream cone. So I have my little piece of this kind of watercolor splotch. So you saw that whole sheet. Let me show you again. So there's a whole sheet. There's a purple one too, but here's the pink one, and it's this whole sheet of splotches. Now I've cut one of those splotches out, and I'm going to use this to cut my ice cream. So I'm just sliding it in. I'm holding my punch upside down so I can see where it is. Sliding that right in, and then just punch it. And there's the top of my ice cream. Now I also want to make the bottom to my ice cream, and I forgot to get out the right piece of paper for that. So let me grab that piece of paper. Here we go. I wanted to use the one that was already cut into. So this just gives you that nice waffle cone look to it, right? So I'm going to take my punch again and just trying to get all the way over to the side. I could have cut out the piece that I needed, but I'm just going to use that all the way to the side. And I just cut that triangle out that will make that nice ice cream cone. Now I also want to create a banner on the front of my card. So to create the banner ends, I kind of found a fun little trick. I have this piece of designer series paper that's 1 inch wide, and I'm just threading it through my punch. And then I'm going to reach in and grab it. So I've just threaded it through my punch just like that, and then pulling it out through the other side. Now I'm going to line up the bottom of it with those 3 little bumps. And then try to get it, straight and even. And then I will just punch that. And that gives me a nice end to my banner. That's kind of a little bit different. So isn't that fun? Something really simple and kind of a fun little way you can also use the punch. So I'll put some glue on there, and then this gets added to my card front. And I am putting this all the way up flush with the top of the purple. So it almost looks like it's coming from behind the back of the purple to the front of my card. Or I should say the Blackberry Bliss, but you know what I'm talking about. All right, so just get that right in place. And then I want to tie a ribbon around the front of this. I'm just kind of building this as I go. And I'm going to tie a bow on the front of this card. I love the ribbon that comes in this suite because it's just so easy to tie. And it makes really, oops, sorry about that. It makes very, very pretty bows. They just have, there's something about those stripes in the sheer ribbon. They kind of hold it out and give it some nice dimension. So. And I say it's easy to tie, and then my fat fingers get all in the way. It's not hard to tie, it's just sometimes the sheer ribbon, it's hard to catch the right bit of it to push through for your bow. Or I just keep dropping things. All right. There we go. And then I'll just hold the center and pull my loops back down and pull them out again tight. There we go. Isn't that nice? And you can see how these just like to be really nice and fluffy. Now, that bow is pretty straight on there. I actually kind of want it to go this way. What I also like about this ribbon is that it's pretty easy. We'll see if I can do it. It's pretty easy to get it to turn. So, yeah, see, just like that. So when I go to pull it back out tight again, I'm just going to pull it the direction that I want it to go. And that will give you a nice turn to your bow because I wanted it to kind of go sideways. Sometimes you want them to be straight and sometimes you want them to be sideways. Now the opposite is true too. If you accidentally tied this and it was a little bit sideways, this ribbon does work really well for turning it back so that it's straighter again. So there is that ribbon right on there. Now I have an oval cut from Whisper White cardstock using the Stitched Shapes dies. And I'm going to stamp on this with Blackberry Bliss ink. with a stamp that says, "You're so cool," right from the stamp set. This is one of the few stamps we're going to use today. And I'll just stamp that right on there, down in the lower right-hand corner. And I'm going to build my ice cream cone on top of this. So I'm going to start by adhering the cone to the left side. So I just put some adhesive right on there, some of my green glue. And we're just going to put that right there. Now, I actually want the ice cream part of it to kind of pop up. So we're going to use some dimensionals on there because, you know, I love dimensionals. They're like my favorite thing. Is it really a homemade card without dimensionals? I'm not sure. I suppose it could be. So I'm just sticking 3 dimensionals on the back of there. I'll pop the backs off. And then we will just add this right to the top of our ice cream cone. So there is our little cone. And then I'm going to put this on the front of my card, also using dimensionals. Because that ribbon is under there, I like to put the dimensionals to help really secure it and kind of lift it up above that ribbon a little bit. So just put 4 more dimensionals on the back of there. Pop those backs off. And then this goes right over here, just kind of above this ribbon, just a little bit. Let's see if that's even. There we go. And now I'm just going to put it on my card front. Why not? Let's use some more dimensionals. This is going to be really poofy. You could put this straight on your card, but again, it has this ribbon back here, so sometimes it's kind of nice to put the dimensionals because otherwise you kind of get a bump anyway in the front of your card. So if the dimensionals are there, it looks a little more intentional. So grab those backs. I love the take your pick tool for this because I can grab those backs right off there and then put them in my trash can. Try not to get them all over my floor, although they still get all over the floor, let's be honest. Those silly backs of the Stampin' Dimensionals wind up all over the place. All right, so there is my first card. Isn't that cute? So quick and easy with that punch. And we're gonna use the punch on all of the cards today. So let me put this aside and we will get started with the second card. All right. So my second card is going to use a base that is Old Olive. Once again, this is 8.5 by 5.5. I've scored it at 4 1/4. And I'm just going to try to get a nice fold on here, lining up those corners and then giving it a good crease with my bone folder. Now, I have another piece of Blackberry Bliss cardstock, and this is 5 1/4 by 4 inches. And I'm going to emboss this with the brick and mortar embossing folder. So I'm gonna do that and I'll be right back. Here's my piece of Blackberry Bliss cardstock that I've embossed with the brick and mortar embossing folder. So this is just going to go straight on the front of my card. And I'm just gonna adhere it with some of the multi-purpose adhesive, multi-purpose glue. And that's just going straight on that Old Olive card base. Just like that. Now I want to make a couple more banners, so I'm going to use that same banner technique, but this time I'm going to use the top of the ice cream cone. So this time I want to cut on this end. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to thread this through and lift it up down here. And then I'm going to pull this down to where I want it and try to get it all nice and centered and even. And I will just cut that off. And that gives me a nice rounded edge. I'm going to do the same thing with this 1/2 inch piece of striped designer series paper. And this piece, I'm going to cut it a little bit shorter. Oops, it kind of slid out. We'll just push it back. So, oh, you know what I did on this one? Actually, I wanted the end to be just a little bit different. So I threaded this through and used the bottom I forgot about that. I used the bottom of the ice cream on this because this is just about a 1/2 inch. So I just line that up on both sides and gave it a little punch there. I probably should have made this paper just a tidge smaller than a 1/2 inch, but that's how you can get a nice curve. And it's a little bit longer, but you know what we can do? We can just trim the edges after we adhere it in place. So I'm gonna go ahead and adhere these 2 strips. So there's the first one. It almost looks like a tongue depressor or something. So we'll just lay that one right on the bottom first. And then the next one is going to lay right over top of it. This card is so easy. All right, so we'll just put this right here over top of the green, that nice stripe. Sliding it down a little bit. And then I'm just going to come in with my paper snips and just snip off that end. Really easy. Now I want to stamp a thank you on this piece of Whisper white cardstock, and it's about 1 inch wide and it's just a strip. Again, all the dimensions are available on my website, and the link to my website's in the description to this video. So I grabbed the thank you right from the Sweet Ice Cream stamp set, and I'm just going to stamp it right on this piece of Whisper white cardstock. And again, I'm stamping with Blackberry Bliss ink. Now, I want to cut these ends just like I did on the last card. See, I'm just using all sorts of this this punch today. So we're going to thread this through and try to get that nice and straight. And we'll just trim it off. And now I will do the same thing on the other end. Pull that through, straighten that all up, and just punch that off. So there's a nice little tag punch, a little tag that I punched with my ice cream cone builder. I have another piece of that Blackberry Bliss ribbon, and I'm just going to adhere this to the front. I am going to put down just a little bit of glue. You don't really have to because it's mostly going to be held in place with the dimensionals that I will put on the back of the sentiment strip. But I'm going to go ahead and just put down just a little bit of green glue right in there. And it's just going at the top of this little stack of things. So now let's put some dimensionals on the back of here. Back of my sentiment, and I'm going to go ahead and be a little bit generous with the dimensionals because they are going to hold that ribbon on. So I'm going to put 2 on each ends, even though this is pretty skinny, and 1 in the middle. And then I'll just pull those off. Come on. And we'll add this to the front of our card. I'm just kind of centering it up in the center, not in the center of the card necessarily, but kind of in the center of these strips of cardstock here. So it's all kind of shifted over to the left. Then the only thing left to do is just to trim up the edges. And my scissors have a bad spot on the end of them that I always try to cut in that area. Oops. And I should have cut that the other direction. Well, there we go. All right. So there is that finished thank you card. Just a really quick and easy, simple card, really taking advantage of that trick of making those banner ends with the ice cream cone builder punch. All right, let's move on to card number 3. We are just plowing through the cards today. Today is going to be pretty quick. Although the next card is a little bit more, there's more pieces to it. It's not really hard, but there's some more pieces to it. So And I did not pull out my piece of cardstock that I wanted. All right, so I have a piece of Bermuda Bay cardstock that is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4, just like always, to create my card base. And then I have a piece of old olive cardstock, and this is, once again, this is, I believe, it is 5 3/16 by 3 15/16. And I'm going to start by putting a piece of this designer series paper, this nice old olive dotted polka dot designer series paper. It's going to go on the top, but I am going to leave just a little bit of a border on the top and the sides. So it's just going to get this little border. And then I'm going to put down my piece of striped, and these are both 5 inches by 2 inches. And we'll just put this right over top. So it's going to overlap the polka dot just a little bit, and then it, just like the polka dot, is going to leave just a little bit of a border on the top and the sides. So just like that. And then I'm going to come in with that same Blackberry Bliss ribbon that I just love. It's so pretty. And I'm going to tie a bow over here, kind of towards the right half of the card. So there we go. We'll just, whenever I'm pulling down the loops of my bow, I just hold the center to kind of try to keep it tight as possible, and then I pull it back tight again, pull out the bows. And that turned out nice and straight, and this time I am going to go ahead and just leave it straight. I'm going to cut off my ends. Like that. Now I want to create my ice cream cone. I'm actually, you know what? I'm not going to even show you. I'm going to show you the finished product because it's pretty much the same. So I have a piece of Blackberry Bliss cardstock. Now I'll show you. All right, this is Blackberry Bliss cardstock. I've cut it with the Stitch So Sweetly dies. And that's just getting put on the front as well. And it's going to go over here on the left. This is where my ice cream cone is going to go. And then we're going to put a piece of Whisper White cardstock. And I have to look at what size this is because it's a really weird size. Basically, I measure inside here so that it fits. It is 2 13/16 by 1 11/16. And again, the dimensions are on my website and the links in the description because you can't remember this. I can't remember it. So you can go back over there and look and then have it all written down for you. And this is just going to go right in the center here. So cute. Now let's make our ice cream cone. I'm going to make the base with that same waffly looking stuff. Let's see. There's a piece stuck in there. That's why it was not working. All right. A little extra bits. So there's my ice cream cone. And now I need to make my ice cream top. And this one needs to be green and blue. So let me pull out the right piece of designer series paper. There we go. And we're just going to choose a green and blue little bit here. Let's see. Which one do we want? Maybe this one? I'm going to go ahead. I like to cut this out so I can make sure that it's going exactly the direction that I want it to go. So I'll just trim that out, and now I can stick it in my ice cream cone builder punch. And just punch that right out. There's the top to my ice cream cone. So let's glue down the bottom. That's going to go just right over here on this piece of Whisper White. And then the top, I'm going to put this down with some Stampin' Dimensionals, of course, because I love it when the top of the ice cream looks like it's higher, it's popped out than the cone. Let's grab those dimensionals, pop the backs off. And then this is going to go right on top. Just like that. Isn't it cute? And then I'm just going to put this right on the front of my card. And I'm not even going to use dimensionals this time. I'm just going to use my multi-purpose glue. And this just goes right on my Bermuda Bay card base. Isn't that fun? Now, I did one more thing to this card that's so cute and so much fun. But unfortunately, I'm going to show you the sample that I made ahead of time because it uses the Artistry Blooms self-adhesive sequins, which y'all know are my absolute favorite embellishment this year, right? I just love them. They're so pretty and they're so easy to use that I have run out of them. So I didn't have enough to do a second card, but I wanted to show you what I did. So let me bring in the sample that I had already made. Here it is. And you can see that I have added those sequins as, what do I want to say? As sprinkles on the top of my ice cream cone. And what I actually did here is I cut one of the large ones in half so that it kind of looks like it's on the other side, like it's not sticking up. So isn't that fun? And the colors are not exactly the same. I think these are Pool Party and this is Rich Razzleberry, but they're close enough that when you put them on the ice cream cone, they look fabulous. So I absolutely love that. That was really fun. Let me show you all 3 cards that I made today. Quick and easy cards that just really show off that gorgeous designer series paper and use that fabulous ice cream cone builder punch. I just love it. So much fun. So there's our 3 cards. Thank you so much for joining me today. Weren't those cards super, super fun? Just love that ice cream cone builder punch. It's so much fun to play with, and the designer series paper is absolutely gorgeous. Just beautiful and fun colors. If you liked today's video, make sure that you like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and then come on back here for more tips, techniques, and inspiration. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.